In today's video, we'll be going over the PSA Airlines flight attendant hiring process from start to finish. So if you've already applied, are thinking about applying, or have an interview coming up, this video will help you understand what to expect and how to give yourself the best chance of getting hired as a flight attendant with PSA Airlines. What's covered in today's video? Number 1, quick overview. Number 2, requirements before applying. So what are the requirements before applying for PSA's flight attendant position? Number 3, the application process. Number 4, the video interview. Number 5, the in-person interview. Number 6, the PSA training process. Number 7, the CJO, also known as conditional job offer, background and drug test. Number 8, compensation and benefits. Number 9, testimonials and feedback. I will post some testimonials left by people who've gone through the interview process with PSA for a flight attendant position and what they have to say. It'll give you a better understanding of what to expect during your interview. And number 10, I will go over some of the sample questions and answers in the PSA video interview and in-person interview. These are the exact interview questions that I was able to gather online, so this will definitely help you out during your interview. All right, so let's get started. Quick overview. PSA Airlines is a regional airline and a wholly owned subsidiary of American Airlines Group. PSA Airlines traces back to V. Neal Airlines, established in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, which received its air operator certificate in 1979. It was renamed Jetstream International Airlines in 1983, and then in 1995 it was renamed PSA Airlines by USA, and then became part of American Airlines Group after the American Airlines and US Airways merger. All jet fleet consisting exclusively of Bombardier regional jet aircraft, operating more than 600 daily flights to nearly 100 destinations. Headquarters: recently relocated and opened a new corporate headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina, officially open to over 450 team members. Crew bases: Dayton, Ohio, Washington, D.C., Charlotte, North Carolina, Dallas, Texas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Culture: branded around being driven, reliable, and caring, with a stated focus on training, career advancement, and access to American Airlines' broader network. Now, this quick overview is great for you to know because you will be asked during your interview what you know about PSA Airlines. So study this quick overview and it will give you some main points that you can discuss in your interview. Requirements before applying. I've put together this quick visual aid right here that you can pause this video and go over. It goes over the eligibility, skills and experience, physical requirements, and logistics commitment. So pause this video and have a look right here. This will give you all the information you need before applying to PSA Airlines. As long as you meet these requirements, you are able to apply to PSA for a flight attendant position. Application process. Start at PSA's flight attendant's career page. For example, psaairlines.com/flight attendants, which links out to PSA's main jobs portal. You can also join PSA's talent network to get notified of new flight attendant openings and hiring events. What you need before applying. Resume: 1-page bullet points, action-driven language focused on customer service experience, hospitality, retail, healthcare, etc., and skills like communication, teamwork, and problem solving. Cover letter: tailored to the role, showing genuine interest and readiness for the job, relevant certifications worth including if you have them, for example, CPR, first aid, foreign language proficiency. What happens once you apply? After submitting your online application, resume, and cover letter, PSA reviews candidates before moving them into the interview stages: phone, virtual interview, then in-person interview or open house. Video interview. Format: this is a one-way on-demand video interview, not live with the person. Candidates are shown a pre-recorded video of an interviewer asking each question one at a time. Structure: Typically 5 to 6 questions, mostly behavioral. For example, tell me about a time, with at least one scenario-based question. 1 minute to prepare before answering each question, 1 minute to record each answer. Candidates can re-record their answer up to 3 times and choose their best take before submitting. So what you can do, again, if you don't understand this part, is you can record an answer to the question 3 times and then choose which one you want to submit to PSA as your final answer to the question. Information gathered stated 3 to 7 days to complete the video interview. So for what I've been able to gather online from researching in communities is that you have anywhere from 3 to 7 days to complete the video interview. What it's assessing. PSA's own materials describe this stage as evaluating communication, professionalism, and readiness for the role, essentially a first filter before an in-person interview or open house. Common questions to expect. Here are just some of the questions you can expect during the video interview. I'm just going to read through a couple of them, but you could pause this video and go through all of them if you like. So these are the questions. So why would I want to work as a flight attendant? Why do you think you'd be a good fit or asset to the company? Tell me about a time you showed compassion/empathy to a customer. How would you contribute to the airline? Describe a time you turned around a negative customer service experience. General sentiment. Most candidates rated the process as easy, okay, and this is through an Indeed survey. So any of you familiar with Indeed's website, this was a survey taken, and many of the candidates who went through the process stated that this was an easy video interview process. 78% felt the interview was a fair assessment of their skills. Difficulty rated 2.6 out of 5 on Glassdoor, which is relatively low, and 51% felt really excited to work there after interviewing. User experience number 1. This was an experience I was able to gather from online about someone who went through the process, and this is what they do have to say. I would say for the PSA Airlines video interview to practice your answers a few times before recording, but don't overdo it. The first few questions can feel a little nerve-wracking, but after a couple of responses, you'll likely become much more comfortable. I noticed that the more times I re-recorded an answer, the more rehearsed and less natural it sounded. For my last few questions, I only recorded 2 takes before submitting them. The PSA video interview consists mostly of behavioral and situational questions, so I find that using the STAR method was the most important thing to master. For any of you who don't know what the STAR method is, it's answering a question using situation, task, action, and result, okay? Once you're comfortable answering in the STAR format, it's much easier to respond confidently to whatever question you're asked. I also recommend focusing your answers on customer service, empathy, teamwork, professionalism, and always keeping safety in mind. Great, let's jump into the in-person interview part of the hiring process. Where it happens, primarily in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is PSA's headquarters and the main crew base. Though some candidates report interviews in Dayton, Ohio, or regional open house events in cities like Fort Lauderdale, Pittsburgh, or Columbus. Travel. If you live more than 4 hours from the interview location, PSA typically flies you in, non-revenue or booked flight. You can usually choose to fly in the morning of or the night before. If you fly in the night before, PSA does not cover your hotel, only the flight. So if you do fly in the night before, you are responsible for the one-night hotel accommodation. Some candidates who've applied to local regional open house events had to arrange and pay for their own travel. Group size. Highly variable. For example, anywhere from single-digit small groups, 8 to 20, to large open houses, anywhere from 40 to 100 plus applicants, depending on whether it's a scheduled small group interview or a big regional hiring event. The structure. Check-in, arrival, sign-in, sometimes you need an ID passport verification, company presentation, an info session covering pay, benefits, bases, bidding, seniority process, training expectation, and reserve life. Several candidates note PSA is very transparent even blunt about the realities of first-year pay and lifestyle. Icebreaker introduction exercise. This is a reoccurring theme across almost every account from what I've been able to read online. This is what a lot of people have said they went through when they did take place in the group exercise. There is an icebreaker and introduction exercise. Usually it is stand in front of the group, state your name, where you're from, and a fun fact or something unique about yourself. Read an announcement from a laminated card, place card, mimicking an in-flight PA announcement. This tests public speaking and voice projection. Group activity varies by session but often includes finding commonalities with a small group and identifying something unique about yourself. Partner introductions, introduce a fellow candidate to the panel. Poster team exercises describing group traits. Group activity examples. Draw a circle, Venn-style diagram and find 3 things in common with your group. Then add a squiggly line out of the circle representing something unique about yourself. Sell your partner exercise paired with another candidate. Given about 15 minutes to learn about them, then introduce them to the panel. Tests listening plus public speaking simultaneously. Being watched and notated by recruiters circling the room during these activities. Several candidates described this as intense, felt like Big Brother. So essentially what's going on is that as you're going through these group activities, you are being watched by the recruiters to see what your mannerisms are like, more about your personality. So this is something you have to pay attention to if you are part of the group interview process. Now, I know many of you are wondering what is the difference between the group activity and group panel. So I've created this visual aid right here with columns describing the difference. So in the group activity, you'll be able to see that it's more collaborative exercise, work together with other candidates, recruiters mostly observe, no right or wrong answer, evaluates teamwork. In the group panel interview, you have more formal interview questions, answer questions individually, recruiters actively ask questions, looking for structured professional responses, evaluates communication and judgment. Group and panel interview. Candidates then move into a panel interview, usually conducted by several recruiters or experienced flight attendants. Now, after the group activity exercises have been completed, you will be invited in for a group panel interview. Common questions asked during the group panel interview. So I'm just going to read through a couple of them, but if you want to read through the list, please feel free to pause this video. So let's start from the top one. Tell me about a time you dealt with a difficult customer. Why PSA Airlines? How would you respond if coworkers behaved unprofessionally during an overnight layover? And let's look at the last one. Describe a time you went above and beyond for someone. Applicants overwhelmingly recommended answering using the STAR method because it helps organize responses clearly. STAR again stands for situation, task, action, and results. One-on-one interview, when it happens, comes after the group has been narrowed down through the earlier cuts, introduction, announcement read, written test, group activity. Some candidates go straight from the group panel into their one-on-one the same day. Others wait through a break while recruiters deliberate on who advances. A few candidates mention being called shortly after the group portion ends, sometimes within 30 minutes to an hour. The format. Conducted by one recruiter or in-flight team member, one-on-one, unlike the group panel. More conversational and personal than the group stage. Several candidates describe it as more relaxed compared to the pressure of speaking in front of the full group. What is asked? Can you live on the starting pay? Do you have any time off requirements we should know about in advance? Willingness to relocate or commute and flexibility on base assignment? When can you start training? Availability for a specific class date. Customer service type questions will be asked. More in-depth than the group round, some candidates report being asked around 10 customer-related questions in this portion alone. Scenario-based, how would you handle X situation with a passenger? Or I guess what they mean is how would you handle this type of situation with the passenger? And some other type of questions that are scenario-based. Behavioral / HR questions. Tell me about a time work interfered with your personal life or vice versa. Tell me about a time you worked with a difficult coworker. What does teamwork mean to you? General, tell us about yourself style questions. Resume background review. Some candidates mention this portion specifically covers your resume and past roles in more detail than the group stage did. What happens after? A few candidates receive their conditional job offer within minutes to a couple of hours of finishing the one-on-one, including right at the airport before leaving. Most candidates reported being told they'll hear back within about a week. This is generally the last touch point before either a conditional job offer or a rejection. No further interview stages follow. Before we continue, if you have a flight attendant interview coming up and want the exact interview questions and sample answers asked by 15 of the major airlines like United, Delta, American, SkyWest, and more, check out my exclusive flight attendant hiring guide. Inside, you'll find the exact interview questions, sample answers, what recruiters score you on, and what it takes to land a conditional job offer from these airlines. Click the link in the description below to preview the guide and grab your copy today. Great. CJO, conditional job offer, background and drug test. So after you pass the interview process, you will either be given a CJO, which is a conditional job offer, or a rejection notification. So the background check begins after you receive a conditional job offer, CJO. The offer is contingent upon successfully completing criminal background check, drug screening, employment verification, any required fingerprinting, security clearance before training begins. What does PSA check? PSA reviews your criminal history to determine whether you meet airline and airport security requirements. For example, felony convictions, violent crimes, theft or fraud offenses, drug-related convictions, any offenses that could prevent airport security clearance. The drug test. PSA requires a pre-employment drug screen. Drug testing is usually completed at a third-party testing facility, such as Quest Diagnostics or a similar provider. It generally occurs after receiving the conditional job offer rather than during the interview itself. Fingerprinting. Candidates commonly report being fingerprinted as part of the hiring process. Fingerprints are generally used for FBI background checks, airport security clearance, compliance with federal aviation requirements. Identity and work authorization. You'll also need documentation proving right to work in the United States, valid passport or ability to obtain one, ability to travel internationally without restrictions. How long does the background check take? Some applicants are cleared in 1 to 2 weeks, others take 3 to 6 weeks. Delays can occur if employment history is difficult to verify, court records need clarification, multiple states or employers must be contacted, additional documentation is required. Let's now look at the training process. The basics. Length is 4 weeks. Location, Charlotte, North Carolina. Paid training. Notably, several Glassdoor reviewers point out this is a plus compared to American Airlines mainline, whose training is 6 weeks and unpaid. Housing, hotel accommodation included, attendance requirement, full commitment required including weekends. Curriculum. Safety procedures and emergency protocols, turbulence, medical events, emergency landings, evacuations, first aid and CPR certification, security training and FAA regulations, managing in-flight disruptions, identifying suspicious activity, federal compliance, aircraft specific instruction, CRJ 700 and CRJ 900, galley setup, emergency equipment, seating configurations. You'll also learn about in-flight service delivery, beverage service, meal prep, special requests, conflict resolution, and de-escalation tactics. So I've put together this visual aid right here that shows you from week 1 to week 4 exactly what would be covered. So as you can see in week 1, building the foundation. Week 2, safety and emergency procedures. Week 3, aircraft operations and passenger service. Week 4, final evaluations. Now you can pause this video and go through this visual aid. Paid during training. PSA provides 4 weeks of paid training in Charlotte, North Carolina. According to the official careers page, training is fully paid before you begin flying as a flight attendant. Recent trainees on Reddit added more detail explaining that training pay is based on 75 flight hours at the starting hourly rate. According to PSA's official career page, new flight attendants earn about $27.06 per flight hour, and training is paid 75 hours times 27.06 equals. So during training, you get approximately $2,029.50. Trainees also receive $2 an hour per diem throughout training. Many trainees said that training paycheck is actually one of the larger checks they receive early in their career because they are guaranteed the training pay regardless of flight schedules. Hotel accommodations. PSA officially states that hotel accommodations are included during the entire 4-week training program. Reddit users added several details. Each trainee receives their own hotel room, not a shared room. The hotel is arranged and paid for by PSA. A shuttle typically runs between the hotel and the training center. Hotel shuttles often make scheduled stops at nearby grocery stores and shopping areas, making it easy to purchase food and supplies. Meals. PSA does not advertise meal coverage during training. According to multiple recent trainees, meals are generally not provided. If the hotel offers complimentary breakfast and your class schedule allows, you may be able to eat breakfast there. Many trainees recommend bringing non-perishable snacks, easy-to-make meals, or grocery shopping once you arrive because you'll be studying most evenings. Transportation. Most trainees reported that PSA books your travel to Charlotte, sends your flight itinerary before training begins, provides transportation between the hotel and training facility. Uniforms and luggage. Uniforms are not issued completely free of charge. According to recent trainees, uniforms and luggage are typically payroll deducted, meaning the cost is spread across future paychecks rather than requiring payment up front. After 1 year of employment, PSA provides uniform and luggage allowances according to its benefits package. Days off. Classes generally run Monday through Friday. Weekends are typically free, although trainees are expected to use that time to study and prepare for upcoming exams. Typical daily schedule. Although schedules vary by class, trainees generally reported early morning start times, classroom instruction, practical labs, emergency drills, study time after class, homework most evenings. Several Reddit users emphasized that training feels similar to attending school full-time and recommended reviewing material every evening instead of waiting until exams. Initial operating experience, IOE. Graduating from classroom training does not immediately make someone a working flight attendant. Instead, trainees complete initial operating experience, IOE. During IOE, they fly on actual revenue flights, work alongside experienced flight attendants, serve real passengers, demonstrate the skills learned during training. Once IOE, which is initial operating experience, is successfully completed, new flight attendants receive their wings and begin flying regular schedules. What trainees should budget for? Even though the major expenses are covered, trainees should still expect to pay for lunches and dinners, snacks and drinks, personal toiletries, laundry, entertainment, or personal expenses during weekends. Since accommodations and transportation are provided, most trainees said food is their primary out-of-pocket expense during the month. Overall, PSA's training package is considered competitive among regional airlines because it includes paid training, a private hotel room, transportation to training, and travel arrangements, allowing trainees to focus on learning rather than covering major lodging expenses. Let's look at the compensation and benefits package for PSA flight attendants. PSA flight attendants ratified a new 4-year contract in late February 2026, replacing an old contract that had been amendable since 2023. Key details: immediate 10% wage increase, boarding pay added worth an average 15 to 16% additional compensation, triggers roughly 1 year after the contract takes effect. Retroactive pay, additional wage scale raises built in over the contract term, increased vacation, improved work rules and scheduling flexibility. Overall projected increase 30 to 50% in total compensation over the life of the contract. Covers over 1,300 PSA flight attendants, represented by the Association of Flight Attendants, CWA, AFA. Current base pay scale, pre and reflecting new deal. Entry level, $27.06 per hour, $24,000 a year at minimum guaranteed. Top of scale is $43.51 per hour, and this is usually after 18 years of service. These figures will now shift upward with the ratified contracts raises. Per diem and other pay elements. $2 per hour per diem, one of the highest in the industry, per PSA's own materials. New boarding pay, which is 50% of regular pay rate, matching industry standards set by American, Alaska, Delta, and SkyWest. This is a brand new benefit from the 2026 contract, not previously part of PSA's compensation. Benefits package. Medical, dental, and vision insurance, 401k, American Airlines Group AAG profit sharing, paid 4-week training in Charlotte plus hotel accommodation during training, uniform and luggage allowances after 1 year of service, $250 per month hotel reimbursement for registered commuters, travel privileges on American Airlines for employee, family, and friends, flexible scheduling with paid time off. Let's look at some testimonials and feedbacks. Now, these are testimonials that I have been able to gather online from candidates who've gone through the interview process. User experience number 1. My experience with PSA's hiring process was one of the smoothest I've ever had. I received my video interview invitation just a few days after applying, and the questions focused mainly on customer service, teamwork, and why I wanted to become a flight attendant. A week later, I was invited to the face-to-face interview in Charlotte, where the recruiters were welcoming and genuinely wanted everyone to succeed. The day included introductions, reading a passenger announcement, group activities, and behavioral interviews, but the atmosphere was much more relaxed than I expected. After receiving my conditional job offer, I attended the 4-week paid training in Charlotte, where hotel accommodations were provided. The training was fast-paced and challenging, especially during the first and third weeks, but the instructors were incredibly supportive and prepared us well for initial operating experience. User experience number 2. From the beginning, PSA's hiring process felt organized and efficient. The pre-recorded video interview was easy to complete from home, and I appreciated having time to think before answering questions about customer service, conflict resolution, and my previous work experience. The face-to-face interview was professional but friendly, with group exercises, scenario-based questions, and individual interviews that focused on communication and safety. I received my job offer shortly after the interview, and training started only a few weeks later. During the 4-week paid training program, PSA provided hotel accommodations, and although the pace was intense, the instructors made themselves available whenever we needed help. By the end of the training, I felt confident handling emergency procedures, passenger service, and the responsibilities of becoming a PSA flight attendant. Here are some of the PSA interview questions you will be asked during the video interview and in-person interview. So I was able to gather these from researching online and actually reaching out to candidates to hear what they had to say about the interview questions. So let's start with the video interview. I'm not going to read through the entire list, but you can pause the video and quickly go through them. But number 1, tell us about a time you dealt with a difficult customer. Let's look at number 6. What would you do if you had a difficult passenger? Number 10, why should we hire you? Number 14, tell me about a commitment you had at work and how you managed it. And number 17, describe yourself as an employee. Now let's look at some in-person interview questions you will be asked during your PSA flight attendant interview. So number 1, a passenger complains that another passenger is overweight and wants to move. What would you do? Number 8, why flight attendant? So I guess in other words, why would you like to become a flight attendant? Number 10, what makes you unique? Number 13, can you relocate? Number 16, do you have any scheduled time off coming up? And number 17, tell me about your previous work experience. Next, I'll be sharing 4 sample answers to common PSA Airlines flight attendant interview questions. Use these examples as a guide to help you understand what makes a strong response and how to structure your own answers. By the end of this section, you'll have a better idea of what recruiters are looking for during the interview, and the sample answer you can customize with your own qualifications and experiences. All right? So question number 1, tell us about a time you dealt with a difficult customer. Flight attendants interact with hundreds of passengers every day, and not every situation goes as planned. PSA wants to see that you can remain calm under pressure, listen to the customer's concerns, show empathy, and find a solution without escalating the situation. They are looking for professionalism, strong communication skills, problem solving, and a customer-first mindset, while always keeping safety in mind. Here's a sample answer. When I worked in customer service, a customer became upset because they had been waiting much longer than expected for assistance. They were frustrated and raised their voice because they felt they had been overlooked. My responsibility was to resolve the situation while remaining professional and making the customer feel heard. I listened without interrupting, apologized for the inconvenience, and acknowledged how frustrating the delay must have been. I calmly explained what caused the wait, immediately found the quickest solution, and kept the customer updated throughout the process so they knew what to expect. By the end of the interaction, the customer thanked me for taking the time to listen and help. The experience taught me that staying calm, showing empathy, and communicating clearly can often turn a difficult situation into a positive one. I believe those are important qualities for a flight attendant because passengers want to feel respected, informed, and cared for, especially during stressful situations. Question number 2. What can you contribute to PSA Airlines? PSA wants to understand what strengths, skills, and qualities you would bring to the company. They are looking for candidates who align with their values of safety, customer service, teamwork, professionalism, and reliability. This is your opportunity to show how your experience and personality would make you a valuable member of the cabin crew. Here's a great sample answer. I believe I can contribute a positive attitude, strong customer service skills, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. Throughout my previous customer service experience, I learned how to communicate with people from different backgrounds, solve problems professionally, and make customers feel heard and respected even during challenging situations. I also enjoyed working as part of a team and understand how important communication and supporting one another are in fast-paced environments. As a flight attendant, I know that safety is always the top priority, and I would take that responsibility very seriously while also creating a welcoming experience for every passenger. Most importantly, I'm eager to learn, accept feedback, and continue to grow within PSA. I want to contribute to a team that is known for providing safety, reliable, and caring service. And I believe my work ethic, professionalism, and commitment to helping others would make me a strong addition to your company. Great, let's look at question number 3. Which PSA core value resonates with you most? PSA wants to know if you've taken the time to learn about the company's culture and values. They're looking for candidates whose personal values align with the way PSA expects its employees to treat passengers, co-workers, and the company. There isn't one correct answer, but your response should demonstrate that you understand the importance of safety, teamwork, professionalism, and customer service. Here's a great sample answer. The PSA core value that resonates with me the most is safe and caring. I believe safety should always come first, but it's equally important to make people feel respected and cared for, especially during stressful situations. In my previous customer service role, I often worked with frustrated customers, and I learned that staying calm, listening carefully, and showing empathy help build trust and resolve problems more effectively. As a flight attendant, I know passengers rely on the crew not only to keep them safe, but also to provide reassurance and excellent service throughout the flight. I believe combining safety with genuine care creates the best possible experience for everyone on board, and that's a value I would be proud to represent at PSA. Great, and here's the final PSA flight attendant sample question with the high converting sample answer. Question number 4. What characteristics make you a successful flight attendant? PSA asked this question to determine whether you understand what the role truly involves. While excellent customer service is important, the primary responsibility of a flight attendant is ensuring the safety and well-being of passengers. Recruiters want to hear that you value safety, can communicate effectively, work well as part of a team, remain calm under pressure, and provide outstanding service to every passenger. And here's a sample answer. I believe the most important characteristics of a successful flight attendant is having a safety-first mindset. While providing excellent customer service is a big part of the job, passengers depend on cabin crew to keep them safe and respond confidently in any situation. I think strong communication, teamwork, adaptability, and empathy are essential. Every flight is different, so being able to work closely with the crew, remain calm under pressure, and communicate clearly with passengers helps create a safe and positive travel experience. At the same time, showing patience and professionalism can make a stressful situation much easier for passengers. I believe a successful flight attendant is someone who genuinely enjoys helping people, stays composed in challenging situations, and consistently represents the airline with a positive attitude. Those are qualities I've developed throughout my customer service experience, and they're qualities I would bring to PSA Airlines every day. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. If you're serious about becoming a flight attendant, check out my exclusive flight attendant hiring guide. It's packed with interview questions, sample answers, recruiter tips, and hiring strategies to help you increase your chances of getting hired. You'll find the link in the description below. Keep your head up, keep smiling, and good luck.